Hello. I'd like to welcome and thank you for the opportunity to discuss Walmart's approach with the support of partners like Yonder to the autonomous warehouse. My name is Jared Easton, and I am the end-to-end solutions architect, and I have responsibility for the underlying business process design and end-to-end solutions architecture. I joined Walmart almost 2 years ago from Target, where I held production planning and control responsibilities and contributed to multiple transformation programs. I look forward to our discussion today on building the foundation to a nimble retail environment in support of the autonomous warehouse. So as we think about what makes a good foundation, we have to be able to define it. And we have defined foundation as the underlying basis in which all principles are founded. So in essence, what we are saying here is the foundation has to be stable so business processes can be predictable, to which technology can then be leveraged agnostically, and we can consistently realize value with tremendous speeds. Let's talk about this in its modular components. In a way, you can say that a stable foundation really just means getting back to basics. When we sit back and observe the core attributes that produce excellence and the elements within that have to be nurtured, there are many that come to mind, but 4 core frameworks stand out. The first being a common business language, which is really the pursuit of the ever-elusive interoperability. This is really around the criticality of internal and external trading partner alignment. Then we have principles, mindsets, and behaviors. Really what we're talking about there is the focus on putting people first, understanding what they truly need to be successful, and putting them in positions to lead change. Then we move into lean and risk-based business processes. What we're referring to here is the focus on waste elimination and process controls. So really teaching the workforce being able to see, so the focus on learning to see, and also getting them to understand the likelihood and severity of process deviation as it's identified. As their ability to start seeing and identifying process deviation, now they get into the ability to attack those largest losses through process methodology. So teaching them to be able to hypothesize, design, test, and learn. Really what we're talking about is optimization through iteration. When you evaluate the solution partners in the supply chain space, we've aligned ourselves to those like Yonder that can provide robust end-to-end solutions, while still offering the extensibility and flexibility to feel like you have the creative freedoms during the design process. Today, we have work underway within the transportation management, warehouse management, and labor management spaces. There, we're extremely excited to be leveraging the API and identification services to be able to extend our proprietary offerings within the mobility and Internet of Things platforms so that we can have a seamless execution across many different products. Really what we're talking about is the partnership to leverage the expertise in interconnectivity. Now that we've talked about foundation, let's move into business process and the concept of making technology and form factor agnostic. When we think about business process design, what comes to mind most frequently is UI and UX, or the user interface and the user experience as defined by the end user. And really what we have to never lose sight of is truly the customer experience and did we meet the customer expectation. And this is because as end customers in all sectors have become more sophisticated by using their mobile devices to research online before buying in stores, or vice versa. The traditional supply and demand chain is becoming a network with the customer at its very center. And such a network requires open, multi-industry interoperability to perform effectively and transparently. And so these are the reasons in which we've chosen solution partners within industry, like Yonder, because they can help us achieve these objectives. As we discussed during foundation, within the business process, there are many aspects that support the underpinnings of a sound business process design. This is not an inclusive list, but it's the critical list of the things that need to be considered. Starting with a performance system, which is really about process discipline and rigor. As humans, we are creatures of habit, but we are also quite creative. So how do we harness that in an appropriate way? The last thing we would ever want to do is discourage or disincentivize our associates. Then we move into quality excellence, which is really about expectations, really, really high ones, and understanding our largest problems and having a plan to methodically attack them. Once we get to a point where we understand our performance system and our quality excellence expectations, continuous learning takes the outputs of those and we leverage it in a way to get better in a very iterative cycle. And now that we have the ability to maximize performance and quality through continuous learning, operational excellence and financial excellence become a whole lot easier with transparency into those processes and understanding all the touch points that results in the outputs of those processes. During this, we've also talked a lot about people and change, and we really start to focus on the team aspect of people and educate them on how to keep themselves and others safe as we work as a cohesive unit and network as an end-to-end value chain. All of these things allow a company to pursue an automation strategy. Think of the others as prerequisites and almost as entrance criteria, because without the other underpinnings, we would never actually be able to achieve an autonomous warehouse. Now that we understand the business process can be designed in a way that makes technology and form factor agnostic, how do we take the outputs of that business process and align it to a technology that transcends mediums? We're not talking about technology because we want to be talking about technology. We're talking about technology because we have to be talking about technology. Today, customers want real-time details about the products they buy and expect flexible fulfillment options in which to buy them. So for Walmart to meet these evolving and demanding customer needs, we must improve our distribution and replenishment efficiencies, we must maximize our supply chain transparencies, and we must be providing complete and accurate product data to customers. And deviation from this can result in a significant lack and loss of customer loyalty, as well as larger brand implications. For Walmart to continue to be competitive, keep pace with growth, improve customer and associate experiences, and reduce overall expenses, we've made substantial investments to make the application of technology more malleable. And what I mean by that, as we think about technology alignment across our future state autonomous warehouse, what we're really talking about is from a wearables perspective, ensuring that our teams are equipped with the appropriate tools as technology matures, which requires alignment and a bridge plan to be able to transition from technology factor to technology factor and realize value as we go. What this potentially could mean within sellable unit handling is success in an autonomous warehouse looks like a 9% reduction of labor expenses. When we think about product configuration handling, success in an autonomous warehouse looks like potentially up to a 42% impact on labor expenses. As we transition into autonomous movements, really what we're talking about there is movements within warehouse as well as across the road and over the road. Within DC or within warehouse is really more realistic in the immediate, but both show significant promise. And when we think about machine learning and artificial intelligence, this is the thing that ties everything together. Basically, the ability to have automated quantitative analytics and decision-making, which really drives the associate experience and the customer expectation. Now that we've talked to the foundational components, the business process components, and how to align the technology, we can begin to start to think about, how do I realize value? When do we realize value? And with who do we realize value? As we transition from design to delivery, we know that value isn't fully realized overnight, but leading indicators emerge very, very quickly. What we look for in solution providers are best-in-class capabilities with the ability to leverage both old and new technologies and to provide lessons learned from other industry leaders. When it comes to solution partner selection, we are truly picking force multipliers. As we think about the benefits of working with industry leaders, really what we're talking about is how we derive value. And we look at that through a couple of key core components. When we think about reduction of IT infrastructure, really what we're talking about is cloud-based modernizations. That also translates to a reduction of physical infrastructure, the ability to repurpose the areas in which those technology components actually took up the physical space, and being able to return that physical space as value-added benefits to the business. We also have cycle time and time to value growth. Really what we're thinking through there is our ability to mature and deliver speed and be able to realize things in much, much faster intervals. We also have manual process reduction, which really speaks to the value realization, which then helps with critical mass adoption. When everyone understands what the benefits are to them, they're much, much more amenable to get on board with process. And then really, when we work, as mentioned before, with industry leaders, there's a collective learning process. We don't have to go through everything the first time alone. We have the opportunity to learn from all of the other business partners that the solution partner has worked with over time. Just as hard as value is to realize, it can be just as easily squandered. Alike to great empires of the past, large companies can achieve their highest pinnacles in the face of certain death. Often the greatest threats come from within. And what we mean by that is that great costs are incurred to achieve various capabilities. And for retailers within industry to maintain growth, the need for realizing autonomous warehousing capabilities is more important now than ever. In the end, our success will be measured by two aspects of this little button. First, can we meet or exceed the customer's expectations every time they use it? And two, are our associates at home office and in the field connected to those expectations? And do they leverage the foundational components that we discussed earlier to meet every customer's needs? We think so, and we're excited to go on this journey together. Thank you for your time today, and we look forward to the Q&A. Thanks again.